Yeah, let me jump in there real quick. I just want to talk a little more. All right, Matt, thank you for the session today. I just talked to the camera, so you don't have to do a thing, I promise. I'll just kind of describe the things we worked on. So just want to summarize the work that we did today, right? Yep. So that you have it in place. So if you want, you're like, what the heck was he talking about? You'll have it here in video. I can send you the video.
Okay.
So, yeah. So first, lots of good stuff going on with your golf swing, as you know. You're able to create some pretty good golf, right? But a couple of things were pretty obvious to me fairly quickly were the things that holding you back from being successful as you could be, right? And it was just simply like the lack, one, of what we describe as arm depth, right? So what does arm depth mean? I'll just describe it for you briefly. It either means how far out ahead of me is my arm in my downswing, or how behind me is my arm in my backswing. Okay? So in your backswing, the first thing, or your downswing, the first thing that would happen is that your left arm would move outward. Your hands would move outward. And so that would get the club moving outward and a little bit on the steep side. Now your body did a pretty good job of trying to kind of close the face on the way down, trying to kind of hang in there and not over-rotate to try and close the face and get the ball to go where you wanted it to go. But that is one of the biggest things that was stopping you from being successful, is that arm really got outward pretty fast. So we came at that front foot was, other than that really interview, was relatively early in your backswing. You can start rolling the face of the golf club open. So from this angle, you'll see the face tilted backwards this way. And then you would replicate that in your downswing. So the face would look a lot like that, okay? So I said in your session, my two goals for you today were to get the club head further behind you this way, so that it would be inside of where your hands are at this point in our downswing. So if we get into here, the club would be here, rather than where you would normally have it, which is out and open, right? Okay. And then the other thing was obviously to close the face a little bit early. So we did a couple drills early on, which I think were good and helpful for you, to kind of start working on how can I feel this face starting to feel more closed early on. So we do this, then we pump the shot and hit it from there. And you said, oh man, I was able to hit some draws with my irons, right? Some balls that were really showing us I'm working well to close the face more, thinking a little bit about this approach, right? Closing it, keeping it closed here, and turning on through. Now what you discovered, a little harder with the driver, right? And we told you about the reasons for that. The lie angle's a little different. Club wants to sit down a little bit more. Club is also longer, which means it's a little harder to make sure that club stays behind you here. And then the amount of effort that's required to close it is a little bit more than it is in your nice, shorter, upright, 8-iron or whatever the case may be. So the same thing won't exactly work. We have to produce more into out and more face closure to create a similar shot with our driver than we do with our 7 or 8-iron. So a couple keys, at least for me, that I think led to some success for you. Your practice swings with your driver were getting much, much better, and some of your driver swings were better, right? So the priorities for me are at the top of your backswing. I want to see, one, that this face is closing more on the way back, which helped it be a little bit more closed at the top. Not a ton, but a little bit, and that was helpful. And then two, I want you to feel like your left arm is going to stay more behind your body than you are used to. Okay, so you are used to your downswing, your hands and arms being the first thing that initiates this movement, right? And we're not going to completely change that pattern, but I want to reduce the amount that pulling your hands outward gets your arm and this club head outside of where your hands are, creating that sort of out to in path that's creating that fade shot for you, right? So what I encourage you to feel is that maybe your left arm will stay in line with sort of your right hip or your right leg. Some people feel like they're putting the butt of the club into their right pocket, is a thought that has worked for some people. Trying to feel like that club will stay much further behind us to stop or reduce the amount that our left arm is flying outward at this point in the ball swing. When you did that, when you kept the club more in line here, and we were able to get that face a little bit more closed here, then you were able to finish those swings and hit some pretty good powerful drivers. You said at one point, yeah, even those misses feel a little bit more powerful, right? And the reason for that is on some of those misses where you didn't necessarily square up the face exactly where you wanted it to, but it was not as open. When the face is open and outside of where your club head is, or outside of where your hands are here, all you do is you release with your hands, trying to kind of desperately close and square the face there. You're not able to use your energy, the rest of your body, to continue to deliver. But on even some of your misses, you get the club a little bit more close. Your body would still kind of swing through and finish. It didn't always align the face exactly where you wanted to go, but it still had the power that you're capable of delivering. Okay. So, I said a lot of words there. Any questions about anything? Oh, makes sense. Okay, beautiful, man. I would continue working on this kind of short drill.
What are the club in the hip pocket.
That might be a good one. Yeah, there's always good thoughts that way. Yeah, I mean, anything that's getting the club further behind you, I put that alignment rod kind of here. I like held it outward this way. That's one that sometimes kind of makes people feel, oh, I need to keep my arms kind of behind that or down from that. That's a really good one for you too. If you got a friend or somebody who can kind of hold the stick up or something. Sometimes you even tie it to your bag, sticking it out this way. Okay, I got to keep this underneath there. Butt end of the club kind of working in that direction. All those things will help you closer to what you need.
Okay.
All right, perfect. Thanks, man. Enjoyed it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you very much.
How early do you start in the year? April, May?
So, I mean, I'm going to be